Okay, in this section, what we want to learn about is how to perform linear regression on the TI-83 calculator. And the most important thing, especially if this is the first time you've done linear regression, is to make sure you tell the calculator that you want the value of your correlation coefficient. Now, in order to do that, you only have to do this once, and it's not the easiest procedure, but it works. So follow along here. Press second and 0, which gives you a catalog of all the functions that exist in the calculator. And then what you have to do is scroll down. You just need to keep scrolling a bit, or you can actually, like, it has the alpha lock turned on. If you press D, so the x to the -1 key, it'll jump all the way down to the d's for you, because what you're looking for is the function diagnostic on. So these are called stat diagnostics, and they're generally important calculations, but for some reason the calculator doesn't do them by default. So get your cursor next to diagnostic on, press enter twice, it will just say done. It's not the most impressive thing, but it tells the calculator that you want these calculations done. And you're set until you go back and reset your calculator at some point. Who knows? So now we can go through linear regression. To do that, we need to have some data in our lists in the calculator. So let's go into the list editor by pressing stat, and then the very first item there is the list editor, so press enter to get into that. Okay, next up we have, with linear regression, two sets of data to work with. So if you have any data in L1 or L2, make sure you scroll up to the name of those lists, press clear and enter, and get rid of the data that's already there. And then start entering the data from your problem. And I've grabbed an example problem here just so I have something to work with and show you results from. So I'll enter that data, and you should be efficient enough to work with that, so I'm just going to pause the video and do that quickly and come back. Okay, so now that data is contained in these lists, so the next thing that I'm going to do is perform linear regression. Now, to do that, we need to quit out of the list editor, press the stat key once again. This time we're going to do some calculations based off the data that we put into the editor, and then we will come down to the fourth item, that's probably the fourth for most calculators at least, and choose linreg ax plus b. If you have put your x data, the data that's labeled with an x, or your independent variable, that is, into L1, and your y data, which is in L2, the dependent variable, it will default to looking for that, or you can go ahead and say second L1, comma, second L2. But if you just get to a habit of putting x data in L1, y data in L2, just press enter and it will do the calculations here. Okay, so the value of the correlation coefficient is R, so 0.799, well, effectively 0.8 when we round, because usually we just want that to 3 decimal places. And then the line of regression itself would be y equals, so it says ax plus b, but the values of a and b are listed here for us. So 0.56 times x plus 36.93 would be our y-intercept. So this is just a slope and a y-intercept of the regression line, and that's what you would use to make predictions from. And this is your correlation coefficient. And again, if the correlation coefficient didn't show up, you didn't go through that process with diagnostic on properly, so just run back through that again, and that will show up next time.